Hey guys, welcome to another video, and more specifically, welcome to another video about studying abroad. If you're new here, hi, my name is Rani. I am currently studying in the University of Melbourne and I am taking the Master of Entrepreneurship program. Since I like to make vlogs and post it on my YouTube channel ever since I moved and started studying in the University of Melbourne, I have gotten a lot of questions that are related to my studies. So some time ago, I decided to let you guys send me all those questions and created a video, which is the study abroad Q&A video. And now I feel like I still have some things that I haven't said and I also wanted to share to you guys, which will hopefully help you. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into my first point. The part that everybody needs to figure out is public transport. And I neglected this part because I thought this would be easy. This would be like self-explanatory, but it wasn't. So the thing is, every country's public transport systems are different, and from my own experience, when I went to Singapore and I was like 15 at the time, I didn't have any problem using the public transport at all. But here in Melbourne, I needed more time. You need to really do your research about the public transport because it will make your life much easier, especially during the moving process. When I first got here, I walked a lot when I could have just used the public transport for free because I didn't know that the public transport was free in certain area. If you have the time, really learn about the public transport. What are the available options, the fees, how do you know which one you should ride on? And I know that it is much easier to learn once you get there. Like, some part of it is hard to learn when you're still not in the country because you can only learn so much from the website and from the photos, maybe videos, but at least you have a picture on what to do and then you'll figure out the rest once you're there. I wish I had learned more about the school system. I was grateful that at least the university provided me with like a list of things that I needed to do once I get there, like going to this place to take my student card and then make sure that this documents have been submitted. But I wish I could have learned more about the school system before, like how the classes are gonna be like, how are the grading systems. For example, we don't even have attendance list here, but that was just my example. I feel like in other experiences, those knowledge about the school system and the culture would be beneficial for you.
And I'm talking especially about how some people said they wish they had known before choosing certain countries that, for example, the passing grade is determined solely by the final exams. Like, that's a pretty crucial thing that you want to know first, right?
The next thing is to learn about the weather conditions. I just thought that when I moved to Melbourne, oh, they have 4 seasons, but that was about it. I knew that there's no snow in Melbourne, so it's cold, but it's not as cold as other countries. But I didn't learn more about how people here joke about that Melbourne's weather is so weird and it's kind of bipolar because it changes so quickly. It's kind of hard to figure out what to wear because like at this hour it could be really cold and then suddenly it would be really hot. I wish I knew better about that, and also I wish I knew that it would get so windy in Melbourne. Well, I can like adapt throughout the time, but if I had known, I would have been more prepared. Now the next thing is very important and like the most frequent question because we all need this. It is how to find a place to stay. You want to make sure that you're gonna stay in a place where you feel comfortable, where you like the neighborhood. But if you're watching this video and you are still clueless about finding a place, you can worry less because I can explain to you. Now before I get into it, you can also watch my other video. I've made some kind of an apartment hunting and move-in video, so you can check out that one after this video. There are a lot of ways for you to find a place to stay, especially if you're an international student, but I'm gonna give you like the shortcut. I'm gonna give you the easy way. You can just go to Ember Student. Now let me explain to you about Ember Student. So Ember Student is a platform that will help you find a student housing. They have so many different options of student housing from your location of preference. When I say location, I mean that it is available in so many different countries, and in Australia itself, it's available in Melbourne, Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Adelaide, and all of these cities. And you don't have to worry because even with so many options, all of those student housings have been verified, so it is completely safe for students to live there. It is occupied with high level of security. Let me just show you how to do it so you get a better picture of just what Ember Student can actually do to help you find your own student housings. Like, honestly, I found Ember Student by myself when I was looking for student housings, and I wish someone would have told me to. So you just go to the website that I put on my description box, click on that link, and then you might wonder like, why is my profile over there? It is because I am currently an official partner with Ember Student. You can just just type the name of the city or the university itself if you want to be closer to uni, and then they will show you options that are closest to that area. You can do your own research, figure out which ones you like most, which one has the prices of your preferences. You can see photos of the rooms, the facilities. You can do a virtual tour of the room, so you can have everything just from this website. And you also don't have to worry because Amber Student provides with all-inclusive price. So once you see the prices on the website, everything has been included. There will be no additional charges or extra fees, and utilities are included, so it is completely convenient. You don't have to worry about any of those things anymore. And once you've decided which housing that you want, you can just make your instant online booking from Amber Student as well, and then the booking assistants will help you with the next step. They will also provide you with post move-in services to make sure that everything went well for you. Now, I would also like to remind you that since we are starting the new semester, student housings are in high demand and it fills up quickly, so I suggest that you book your student housings as soon as possible. If you're even still considering for the next semester or the next year, I would also suggest that you book in advance because there are amazing promotions if you book like months in advance. To be more specific about the perks of early bookings, since you would have gotten a better price if you calculated throughout your entire stay, you could save up to $3,000 on rent, on transport maybe because you would have gotten a better location, and once you get closer to the start of the new term, the prices will increase as well. So that is why you can save so much money. And I also get this question a lot, like, is it more expensive than on other websites since they provide their service? No, that is false, because if you compare other websites, and I have done it a lot of times, they offer you with the same price, and even sometimes with certain deals it can be cheaper. So if you're still confused about student housing, what are you doing? Go to that link in my description box and experience it yourself, how helpful Amber Student can be for new students. Well, the next thing is I wish that I would have learned more about not just the culture of the country itself, but more about the city. I kind of underestimated this because, well, I have gone to Melbourne when I was younger, but it was years ago, so my knowledge was less valid because things changed so quickly. And I did read a little bit of things culture-wise about Australia, but I should have learned specifically about Melbourne. I was actually surprised by how diverse it is in Melbourne right now. There are a lot of international people here either to study or to work, and there are actually more international people in the CBD rather than Australians. So yeah, it was a bit surprising to me, but it's also a good thing. The diversity feels friendly and I don't really feel out of place being in a foreign country, but I was lucky because it was a good surprise. But if it's not exactly as like on the positive side of surprise, it would have been better for you to learn about it beforehand rather than like being surprised when you're already in the city. It also helps that you know their culture, and I mean like not just the traditional culture, but more like the everyday culture, like how people do things, how people maybe say certain phrases, how people engage in conversations. So like you would have felt less of being an outcast, if that makes sense. Like it is good that you still bring your own culture and introduce people to your own culture, but at the same time there are like just some things that would be better if you know how people do here. They would have appreciated it more if you learn about their culture while you're living here, you know what I mean? The next part is more like personal. I wish I would have known how overwhelming it can be living alone abroad. I know that a lot of people have talked about this, like living alone abroad is hard, it's overwhelming, and you can get lonely, but it was really different from what I expected because I thought I was gonna be really lonely and I would miss my hometown, but it wasn't that. I feel like I'm just really happy being here, but there are just some times when everything just hit me all at once, like managing my own day-to-day life, living alone, where I have to manage everything by myself, managing my studies, managing my life in Indonesia, like my business. So once everything like hit me all together, that is the time when I feel truly overwhelmed, and that is just a different kind of feeling from what I expected. Some people would miss home more than the others. Some people would be sad over certain things when others are fine about it, but I guess it's one of those things that you have to experience to actually be able to like fully understand it. It's also related to the previous point, but everyone's experiences are gonna be different. Like some will be so ambitious about everything and they would join all the clubs, all the competitions. Some would like spend the most of their time here and travel everywhere, and some are just taking their time, taking everything slowly, enjoy their own pace. I'm saying that I wish someone would have reminded me of that because it can also get overwhelming seeing other people do so much things things and you feel like you've barely done anything. But I just wanted to remind you that just because you're taking your time doesn't mean that you are experiencing less than them. I just find it easier to actually make some plans. Like, okay, you might be taking your time, but you already have a plan that you're gonna do these things too in the future, and you're more prepared, and it feels less like everything's just dumped in your face all at once. And actually taking your time helps, which is kind of what I experienced. So like, I moved here first. I just try to adapt with my new environment, my new routine, my new schedule and everything. And then I started planning to travel more. And it's actually nice to see other people have traveled before you, because you can ask for their recommendations and their tips, so you wouldn't be the one who made the mistakes. And speaking of travel plans, for example, now that I live in Melbourne, I'm planning to go to certain cities. It is nice for you to plan those things beforehand, but don't book anything until you're actually in the country, because once you're in the country, you already see other people's experiences. And other than that, you can also have like a better trip overall. It can be as simple as getting a cheaper flight or like building a much better itinerary. So the next thing is, don't buy too many things before you get here. For example, like, don't buy too many clothes before you get here, because even though you feel like you want to be prepared, you can just bring like essential items, not that many, and then it's better to buy it here. I mean, like, other than the fact that it would be better to buy things in Australia for when I live in Australia rather than buying it in Indonesia, if you get my logic, you might want different things. See, from what I experienced, I kind of want a different type of outfit aesthetic now. Just don't bring too many clothes, especially if you're buying new clothes beforehand. And I know that if my parents are watching this, my dad is gonna say, I told you so, but sometimes I gotta like make the mistakes myself. Okay, the next thing is, I feel like it's just not talked about enough. So like, if you're hesitating about moving abroad, I want to say that the richness of the experience of studying abroad, it's not just about what you learn in class, because I value so much of my experiences here, and not just the ones in the university, but it's more about the environment and the people that I met here. I truly love getting new insights that might change my point of view for the better. I feel like I've said this a lot, but especially being surrounded by such an international environment, it can really widen your point of view on a lot of things, and it would be very beneficial for your future. Since you're living alone, it would be so good for you if you can master household abilities, such as just simple things like cooking, cleaning up, doing groceries. And I am so grateful that my parents made me do those stuff from when I was like in middle school, so that now I feel like I'm so prepared about this stuff. But I've seen some other people, they really struggle with this, even though you might think that this is such simple things, you'll get the hang of it. Well, you will get the hang of it, and I believe that, but it would be better if you've known the basic things and you've already at least get used to it before you move alone. The next thing is arrive early. So like, if for example you can arrive 2 weeks before orientation and classes start, it would be much better. Only if time and budget allows, of course, but at least you'll get some times to actually settle in and get used to the time difference, the new environment, the weather and everything. It will be less overwhelming. Well, unfortunately I didn't have time for that, but if you can, please do yourself a favor. You probably have heard of the next one, but I just want to remind you again to be active on finding friends, because again, the international environment is extremely beneficial for you and your future. You will have international range of networks in the future, especially professionally, but also personally, because when you move to an international university and you live alone, you will meet a lot of people who are also experiencing the same thing. So everyone's actively looking for friends, just trying to find people who are in this together, in the experience of living alone. The bond that was created is so different than what you've experienced. I think it's amazing. The last thing is that I wish I would have watched more guides like this, because when I was writing down this list, I was thinking like, I wish I would have known better about public transport and then my bank situation, the university itself. I feel like there must be more articles and videos of people explaining each of those things in detail. So yeah, I wish that I would have watched more videos like this. But anyways, this has been a long video of me talking in front of the camera, and if you're still here, thank you so much for putting up with me. You know what, if you're still here, comment down below, I don't know, leave this emoji so that I would have known that you're still here, and I appreciate you greatly. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. Good luck on your journey of moving abroad, studying abroad, or even still considering to study abroad. I hope you will have an amazing experience. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys on my next videos. Bye!